Hey there, Dan Martell here, serial entrepreneur, investor, and creator of SaaS Academy. And in this video, I'm going to share a strategy to help you recover from overwhelm in your work or life. This strategy is going to be transformational. It's going to help you understand where the overwhelm is coming from and how to deal with it in a quick and clear, simple way. And be sure to stay to the end where I'm going to share with you a framework called the Perfect Week, where I not only talk about the 7 pillars of success that I measure every week on, but also the ingredients that you want to put into your life and how to structure those in a 7-day window. So recently I was working with somebody on my team, and it was pretty evident that they were a little overwhelmed. And I mean, the truth is I always keep my team members at 105%. That's kind of like this beautiful place where there's no slack in the system. They're pushing, they're growing, and I'm coaching them to success. And they didn't say anything. And that's usually the challenge is, you know, really incredible team members are just doing, and they're not saying if they're overwhelmed or things are crazy or they won't have time to get something done, but that only hurts you in the long run. So I said, look, do you have more things than you know how to handle right now? And she said, absolutely. I said, well, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna schedule 45 minutes tomorrow. We're gonna do a process that I've used to really help me deal with the overwhelm. Because if you're a charging type A, driven entrepreneur, then there's a very good chance that you have way too many balls in the air and you're trying to juggle them, or the plates are spinning and you're like worried they're all going to come crashing down. You're not sleeping at night. It's holding you back from hitting your goals, and you're probably stressing everybody else around you in the process. So I want to share with you 4 steps, very unique, you've never heard before, to help you get really clear about how to deal with this overwhelm and build a process to get things done. Number 1, you need to dump it. Take it all inside your mind, put it on paper in front of you. So this is true. I did a video not too long ago on not sleeping at night and what you need to do, but you like literally what I do is I take printer paper and I sit down. I learned this from David Allen. I went to a seminar back in 2006 in New York City, Getting Things Done, the creator of GTD. And that's his strategy. He just dumps it all. And that's where I got it, where you just write all the projects that are on your to-do list, personal and professional, put them on a piece of paper and just keep stacking them. Go grab everything that's outstanding. Maybe you forgot to renew your license. You got to grab that, notification in the mail, or, you forgot to, ton of stuff. If you're an entrepreneur, your trunk in your car is probably full. Your personal life isn't too healthy. And there's a ton of like home things that are just not getting any attention. So you want to just get the whole thing in one spot. So you want to dump it, put it in place so that you have the clear master list of everything that might be overwhelming you to deal with. Number 2, from that list, we're going to use the 4 Ds. The 4 Ds are very straightforward. Number 1, we want to delete. There are things that you haven't made a decision on that you just need to say no to. Okay, you just got to delete them. You got an opportunity, or somebody asked you to do something, or something came in the mail, or whatever it is. You need to grab it, you got to rip it up, you got to throw it in the garbage. So number 1 is delete. 2, you need to delegate. There's so many things that you do on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur and you're making money and you've got some level of profit, you need to start reinvesting to buy back your time. So delegating could be asking for a favor. You could call a friend and be like, hey, I know you're incredible at managing events. I could really use your help with this thing I'm working on. So delegate to people you trust. Delegate to people that care for you because they want to support you and help you. And then if there's nobody else in those buckets, then you want to pay and you want to hire people, and this is where a virtual assistant comes into play, to delegate some of the work. Number 3D out of the 4 Ds is you want to defer. So there's a lot of stuff that's on your list that you just want to push off. They need to go in the someday maybe list. They need to go into the year-end review list. They need to go into the Q3 planning list, but they're not a now thing. You've tracked it. You can put it in that bucket, in that folder, whatever you want to use. You can use Evernote. You can use Google Docs. It doesn't matter the tool. It's the process. And then that way you know your mind. If you schedule it in your calendar and put it there, you'll get to it at some point. So that's 3. And then 4 is you just got to do. Okay, you need to take the things and say, this is finally the list that I need to execute against. This is my to-do list. This is the list that's got everything that's been overwhelming me, and I'm going to take a shot at it. Number 3 is chunk. Okay, if you have your master list, things you're going to do, then you need to start looking at the tasks and activities underneath these key projects and start chunking them together. And the reason why, if you've ever heard of batching work, it's way more efficient. So one of the no-brainer stuff is probably a calls list. If you don't have a calls list, you should create one, because in this list of to-dos, there are people that you need to call to move these things forward, and just taking them and adding it to the calls list. Or things that need to be done, kind of like creative work. Maybe it's writing, maybe it's filling out forms, maybe it's reviewing projects. Whatever it is, you want to start chunking like type of activity together, because your brain, when it gets into that zone of flow, you're more likely to crank through a batch outcome of work than if you're context switching all the time. So one of the things is, once I've got this and I say, okay, well, these kind of look similar, so I'm going to put those over here, put these over there, and this over there, and I kind of start seeing these patterns for chunking and grouping stuff together. That's going to allow me to take action and be way more effective than if I just kind of, most people do a priority list and da-da-da. That's not the way we want to do it yet. First, we want to chunk and group things together so that we can get a good understanding of what kind of headspace and resources we're going to need to attack those specific projects. 4, we want to sequence the work. This is where the prioritization comes into play. Too often, we're taking a to-do list and we're starting to prioritize it. First, we want to chunk it. Once we've got it that way, then we want to sequence and say, okay, here's my goals for the week and for the quarter. These are the projects that need to get done to actually hit those goals. So these are priorities. And then for me, when I sequence, not only do I prioritize, I block time them. I put them into my calendar. I take the list, I type it in the description of the calendar entry, and I'll block typically 50-minute block times. You can do 30-minute Pomodoros. You can do whatever you want. But the big idea is to grab a 60-minute chunk of time in your calendar, ideally in the morning, because that's usually when we get the big rocks done, and just block it in there and put all the details. This is the key. Put all the details into the description of your calendar invite, so that when it prompts you and it says, hey, you got to go do this work, everything is in line and ready to go. And then you just fill out your calendar. When you can take your to-do list, chunk things together, and sequence them into your calendar using block time and actually putting it in there. And that's what I love about linkability, linking to emails, linking to Google Docs, linking to project files online in the calendar entry, so that when I get into that headspace, I can just click and open up all the tabs and I know this is the work that I need to process. It's like ridiculously efficient. And the big idea at the end of doing these 4 steps is that there won't be any outstanding items that you're worried you're going to forget about or it's going to fall through the cracks. You've processed everything. You've been super efficient on it. You've deleted, you delegated, you've done it, you deferred it, and then now you're actually doing your best work and focus on the outcomes that are going to move your dream forward. So quick recap. Number 1, dump it out of your mind. 2, use the 4 Ds, delete, delegate, defer, and do to process the list. Once you have the master do list, chunk it together, group it into like activities, and from that you want to prioritize or sequence. Number 4, sequence those items together so that you can get the work done in batch mode and block it into your calendar. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I want to share with you my perfect week worksheet. It's a strategy that I've been using to manage my week and really design my life. So I start off with the 7 pillars, and these are the 7 areas of my life that I measure myself on a 1 to 10 every week in a spreadsheet. So I've got the wheel of success with those listed for you below, so you can click the link and download that. And included in there is the perfect week worksheet, where you list all the ingredients that would make an incredible work week for you, including the personal and the professional stuff, and then you lock it in your calendar. Here's what most people realize in doing that exercise: they have way more free time in their week than they think, and it is a very powerful exercise, especially if you just finished doing the sequencing and you've got these block times to schedule. You can put that in your calendar so that you know on a weekly basis, if those things get done, you're going to feel super productive and high output. So if you like this video, be sure to click the like button. I'd highly encourage you to subscribe to my channel and also share this video with somebody you care about that you think I can serve. As per usual, I want to challenge you to live a bigger life and a bigger business, and I'll see you next Monday.
There's like 40.
Yeah, don't. Is this the right spot?
Yep.